I'd love to start first with the Newmarket Business Improvement District. What exactly is it?
So the Business Improvement District is an organization that was founded by the business and property owners in the Newmarket Industrial District, where everybody came together and agreed to essentially pool together funds in order to provide services for the area that are above and beyond what the city is capable of doing in the district. So we provide things like street beautification, cleaning, shuttle service, private security, and of course our Back to Work program.
And we got to see a little bit of the workers doing a tad bit different. They were singing and doing carols, but can you tell us more about the Homeless Back to Work program and what are its goals?
Sure. So the Back to Work program grew out of the reality of the district that we all lived and worked in, which was that it's located right at the epicenter of Mass and Cass. And for years, it's very difficult emotionally for the people who work in that area to see the things that are happening there and feel powerless to do anything to help. And it started out very small and evolved over time with literally just going up to people who are on the street and asking them, if we gave you trash bags and gloves, would you clean up some of the stuff that's on the street like this? And we at first were almost surprised to see just how enthusiastic people were about wanting to help out, wanting to clean up the streets and make it a better place. So we grew the program more and more over years so that now it is a well-organized 7-day-a-week crew that we have doing specific routes all the way throughout the district, entirely employing people who are on the street or were on the street at some point in the last year or two, in order to give them a structure, a purpose, something that they can feel proud of and give back to the community at the same time.
And what does a typical day look like for a program participant?
So they gather around 8 or 8:30 in the morning. They get divided out into their crews. We usually have 4 or 5 crews going out on a day. They get assigned their routes, and then they work for about 4 hours. They go up and down the streets, they pick up trash, they do whatever else needs doing. On certain occasions, we'll have businesses reach out to us and say, hey, we need a little help with this project that we have, whether it's like cleaning out a warehouse or doing any other sort of manual labor, weeding on their property or something like that. We'll send a crew to help businesses out with whatever kind of stuff that they need that we can assist them with. We've had them doing yard work for some of the residents who live on Pompey Street and stuff like that. So the exact jobs can vary day to day, but they're always going out every day at the same times in order to give them something that they can build a structure and rebuild their lives around.
And homelessness in Boston, of course, it cuts across a variety of issues. You have to think about the mental health aspect and substance use and food insecurity. What are some of the organizations that you partner with in regard to delivering services for the individuals involved in the program?
Well, first and foremost, we partner very, very closely with the mayor's office. The mayor's coordinated response team is down there on the street, at least up until November 1st. The coordinated response team was down there with us every single day. Now they have the freedom to spend a little more time in other parts of the city, but we still work with them extremely closely, as well as the Boston Public Health Commission and the Department of Housing and everything. All of the different organizations that exist within the city, as well as private organizations like the Pine Street Inn, like Hope House, in order to find everything that's needed to get these guys from where they're starting to where they're finishing. Because the inciting moment of the Back to Work program is that people don't just get better on their own. And having something that gives them a sense of pride in the work that they do is just the beginning of it. Then once they're working, we get to know them, we can form a relationship. It's a lot easier once we know these guys as well as we get to know them to say, look, you've been with us for 6 months or however long. Let's get you into detox, let's get you into housing, and then work through that not just as, a stranger from a program who comes up to you, but as a friend and somebody who knows you well. So we work with everybody across all the spectrums that we need in order to address the individual issues that each person has.
And how many individuals have you been able to help with the program, and what have been some of the results?
Sure. So we have worked with over 100 people in the 2 years that the program has been active. And at the beginning of that time, all 100 of those people were living in a tent or in a shelter. Now, I think we maybe have 2 people who are still in a shelter, nobody living on the street. All the rest of them have gotten into permanent or transitional supportive housing. Dozens of them have gone on to graduate from our program. Once, they're clean and they're stable, we work with all of the businesses in the area who we have great relationships with to find full-time jobs for them that they can then use to graduate from the sort of part-time transitional work we do into, a real career. We've even had several of them go on to work with the city in the Department of Public Health, stuff like that, or sorry, not the Department of Public Health, Department of Public Works, and stuff like that.
That's amazing. And I know a lot of the individuals in the program are now in recovery thanks to being part of it. Can you talk about the significance of employing the people who once lived in the area that we know as Mass and Cass to clean and beautify that area?
Yeah, like I've been saying, the whole mission of the program is to give people that sense of pride in their work. It's hard to motivate yourself to improve your life when you don't feel like you're doing anything with it. And giving people something that they can point to and say, this is my job, this is what I did today, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. It provides that structure, and we see that the guys very quickly become very proud of having a place on our crew. We have some of them get elevated to crew chief position. When they get sent out on their routes, they're responsible as supervisors. And that's something that they take a lot of pride in. We've had people say that they're excited they'll be able to talk to their kids that night and tell them that they got this position as a crew chief. That it shows that people see them as people and have faith in them and trust them to do a good job. And that means a lot for somebody who hasn't had that in a long time.
And how has the city's November 1st ordinance to remove the tent encampments impacted the work of Homeless Back to Work?
Well, in terms of what we do day to day, it hasn't really changed that much. Obviously, it's been a huge improvement on the conditions of the street in the Newmarket area. It's worked phenomenally well at cleaning up the streets, at getting people into shelter, into housing, into programming. But the work that we do with the guys that we work with goes on. There's still trash to be picked up, there's still beautification to be done, and so we continue employing just as many people as we did before, giving them the same sort of work they did before. It's just a little easier for them now, not have to worry about the amount of trash they were picking up on Southampton and Atkinson Street.
And finally, what's next for the Homeless Back to Work program?
I think the Homeless Back to Work program is going to continue doing the same work that we've been doing, but focus on moving the guys that we still have with us to the next steps. The ultimate goal is that everybody who works with us will eventually get on to a new job, and it's constant work trying to tackle the issues that are put in the way of that, whether it's clearing up old warrants or getting them into detox. It's helpful now that there's so much less of a problem on the streets ever since November 1st that we can really dig down on the guys that we have been working with and get them into those next steps and get them back into a more stable life situation.